special fans. Welcome back to Accessible Athletics. This is going to be an exciting episode because on this episode, I have Gail Hamamoto, who is the CEO of Special Olympics Canada, and she's joining me right now on a phone-in interview from Ontario. Gail Hamamoto joined Special Olympics Canada as a Chief Executive Officer with over 40 years of experience in and on the field of sport. She is and has been a passionate advocate for equity in sport for athletes with a disability for nearly 30 years. Gail is here to talk about Special Olympics Canada Hill Day 2025, which was held in Ottawa, Ontario this past October, as well as sharing some advice on how athletes can stay healthy in life. Thank you for joining me today, Gail.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So you and I first met back in 2024 when the Special Olympics Canada Winter Games were held in Calgary. We went on Global Calgary's morning show together to talk about the games. I remember being very excited to have the wonderful opportunity to meet you. I'm very honored now to have you on my show. So glad you could make time for this.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I was also excited to be on Global with you in Calgary, and you knocked it out of the park. I remember thinking how incredibly talented you were.
That was the first time actually ever being on live television, so I didn't really know what to expect at that time.
You did a great job.
So, Gail, your role with Special Olympics Canada is fairly new. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did before you became CEO of Special Olympics Canada?
Sure. Previously, I was the executive director of BC Wheelchair Sports Association in Vancouver. It's an organization that serves athletes with physical disabilities, and they oversaw wheelchair tennis, wheelchair rugby, and wheelchair athletics. And I started as a program coordinator with them and then worked my way up to executive director over 29 years. So I was there for a long time. I've also been a coach in the sport of rhythmic gymnastics for about 20 years, and I was an official in that sport as well. So did a lot of different things in sport before coming to Special Olympics.
Wow, it sounds like you were pretty involved. Is the wheelchair sport, is that very similar to Special Olympics sports, or is it a bit different in a way?
It's different in the sense that there's equipment involved. So for every sport, you would have a specialized sport wheelchair, depending on the sport that you are participating in. And everyone has a physical disability that it's required for them to participate in the sport.
That's cool. I've watched some of it for the Olympics for like wheelchair basketball, and it looks pretty cool. I always wonder like how can they learn how to dribble in a wheelchair? But I find it's pretty amazing that they can do that. It really is.
It is. It's a lot of fun, and it is very challenging.
What made you want to take on this role as the CEO?
Wow, the opportunity presented itself. Someone reached out to see if I would be interested. And the more I researched and the more I learned about the organization, the more I wanted to be a part of it. The, scope of the programs across the country, the dedication of the volunteers, the amount of community support that there is. And then I learned about healthy athletes, and I had no idea that healthy athletes even existed. And that program and the impact that it has is so impressive and so meaningful. And I thought, this is an organization I really want to be a part of. And for me, the opportunity to have impact through sport has always been what drives me. And this was a way in which to do that, even on a broader scale.
Nice. That sounds pretty cool. Yeah, the healthy athletes is it's a big thing. I know when we went to Nova Scotia, they always made time for us athletes to try and go to healthy athletes, just so that we can try and stay healthy and keep up with it, and so we don't get injured when we're playing sports. It's very cool, and it's very interesting.
It is. It's incredible.
So how has it been so far in this role for you? Can you give us a day in the life as a CEO of such an important organization?
It has been amazing. It's been rewarding, and it has been incredibly challenging. Every day is different. As you probably know, this movement is built on partnerships and collaboration. So we have 12 chapters across our country. We have many wonderful sponsors and partners. And I really took time in my first year or two to travel, to get to every province and territory. I've only got one left to go at Northwest Territories, to learn, build relationships, and show our appreciation for all of the incredible work that's happening in community every single day. I have been involved in many, many meetings where we shared ideas, we talked about creating new opportunities and listened to challenges that people are experiencing. And it's really important for me to share the movement with as many people as possible. So many, many people learning about Special Olympics and the incredible impact that the programs have on the individuals that participate. A lot of my time is spent supporting my incredible staff team. We have just over 30 staff at our national office who are doing incredible work every single day. Together, we are problem solving, planning, managing risk, supporting growth, and thinking strategically. So what's going to propel the Special Olympics movement forward? And how can we reach more people so that more people can benefit from all of the incredible Special Olympics programs across the country?
That sounds awesome. That sounds like you're both you and your team are really trying hard to make a difference and also to get more people involved in Special, because I mean it is a good organization and there's actually not a lot of people that kind of know what it is, so it's good to get involved and hopefully they know what it is after.
And that's, I think, one of the things that kind of surprised me a little bit when I came to Special Olympics, because I had always known about the organization, but I think what is important is that people have a deeper understanding of what it is that we do, that there are daily programs across the country at the grassroots level in 19 different summer and winter sports that people can participate in, either recreationally or if they want to strive for goals at the national or world games level, they can do that too. So making sure that Canadians across our country know that Special Olympics programming exists and can see themselves in it, either as an athlete or as a volunteer, is really, really important.
Yeah, and that's also a great thing about Special is, anybody that can and wants to join it can join it because they don't turn anybody away. So that's really good about Special.
I agree. And the other thing I didn't know was about unified sport before I came to Special Olympics. And the fact that people can participate with and without disabilities together on teams, I think is really incredible and really meaningful. And we've learned so much about how unified sport changes, for example, school settings. So if there was a unified sport program in a school, it reduces bullying in that school and increases social inclusion and changes the whole social fabric of that school, not just in the gym or on the field, but throughout the classrooms and the lunchrooms and all of those things.
That's interesting. I did not know that it reduces that. That's very important.
It is.
I guess that's why they invented events like motion ball, because those people can play with people from Special with disabilities and just go out there and meet new friends and have fun, because that's kind of what that is all about.
I agree. And our athletes are so welcoming and so inclusive, and everyone feels like they belong when they come to a Special Olympics program or when they participate in motion ball and they have a Special Olympics athlete on their team. The athletes are amazing and they just make you feel at home right away.
Yeah, you do. You really do feel like you're at home now. So what do you like the most about your role as CEO?
Gosh, you know what? Really, it is spending time with athletes and hearing their stories. I get the most joy when I get to spend time with our athletes, and that was really my favorite part about going across the country was the athletes sharing their stories with me, telling me about their journey, telling me about the impact that Special Olympics has had on their lives, and then hearing from families and volunteers as well about the profound impact that Special Olympics has had on both themselves and on their loved ones. And, not just the opportunity to play sport, but how that's translated into having friendships and pursuing work and feeling more confident and really that sense of belonging that leads to so many other great things in life. Being able to be a part of that journey is a gift that I'm so grateful that the work that I do gets to have that kind of impact alongside all of the amazing people that I get to work with. So I'm just one person across an organization, that spans from the national office through to the chapters, through to the local communities, who, all of those people are really doing the incredible work on the ground, making a difference. And I was so impressed by the many knowledgeable, kind, generous, and good humans who all care so deeply about our athletes in communities across our country.
Yeah, and that's awesome. It's so awesome to be part of a organization where there's people that care and there's people that actually want to make a difference for these athletes and just everything in general.
I agree.
What do you find challenging about your position as CEO?
Well, I've never worked so hard in my life, and I've always worked hard. So, but it's come at a very good time in my life where, my son is grown and he's off at university, so I can dedicate a lot of my waking hours to this incredible organization. I think part of what's challenging is really trying to balance the diverse needs, perspectives, and voices of our community. So we're a vast country, and although we are united and everyone really believes in our athletes and in Special Olympics, sometimes the challenges being faced by, for example, the Yukon are very different than the challenges being faced in Quebec. And we're all dedicated to providing opportunities for athletes and supporting our volunteers. But the path to get there can be very different depending on your community and your capacity and your environment. So each chapter has different needs, and it's really important for Special Olympics Canada to be flexible and to adapt to these variances, which can be very complex. And it's a daily communication, it's a daily collaboration with everyone in our community to try and make sure we're all pulling in the same direction. And then more broadly, it's challenging right now. We're navigating times that are difficult in our world, and there are economic realities, geopolitical realities that are affecting people that we serve, changing government priorities, things that are affecting foundations and corporate partners in the broader community that all play a role in how we navigate the world in which we want to share the good work of Special Olympics. So we always have to keep our eye on that and be aware and be adaptable and make sure we continue to share the stories of our athletes and the impact of our work.
That does sound like it'd be quite a challenge. Do you also find it challenging to try and get the government to coordinate events like the nationals that we had in Calgary in 2024? Do you also find that to be a bit of a challenge too, trying to just organize that?
We in Calgary, there was such an incredible organizing committee, and we've got another incredible organizing committee coming up for Medicine Hat that have such strong community partnerships, and we're able to create really good government relations around our national games. And so we're really fortunate that we've got such dedicated volunteers and staff within local organizing committees that do that work. And, Calgary was a wonderful example where, all levels of government, whether it was the mayor present at many, many different events or the premier coming, that they were able to do really good work along those lines, and I know that Medicine Hat is super excited to be hosting our games next summer in August in 2026, and have done a lot of great work already towards those games.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty exciting for the athletes to be back in Medicine Hat again.
Mm-hmm. A lot of fun.
So you and I were both involved, and we both went to Ottawa for a Hill Day It was in the middle of October. Can you tell us a bit about Hill Day and why it was so important to Special Olympics Canada?
Sure. The government of Canada is one of the largest supporters of the Special Olympics movement in our country. And Hill Day is an event where Special Olympics Canada, with representation from every chapter, including athletes, coaches, volunteers, family members, and staff, go to Ottawa, go to Parliament Hill, and meet with government officials. So we meet with MPs, with senators, and public servants, and we share the impact of their support on our athletes and our communities. And we thank them for the way in which they've partnered with us to advance inclusion through sport. And this year was particularly significant as we hadn't done an in-person Hill Day since 2016. We did do a virtual one during COVID, but this was our first chance to get back in person, and it was my first Hill Day as CEO. And so our goals for the day really to reconnect, rebuild relationships with government partners. We have a new government in place, many, many new elected MPs. We wanted to make sure that they heard all of our athletes' stories and really understood the national impact through Special Olympics. We had a theme of gratitude and growth. So we wanted to express our gratitude to the Government of Canada for their ongoing support, and also talk about growth. Where do we need increased federal investment in sport, and how we want to grow our movement in new territories such as Nunavut. That's our remaining territory in Canada where we don't have a Special Olympics program, and to new communities. So we want to make sure that we're reaching all Canadians. And some of our activities included more than 40 meetings with MPs, senators, and elected officials and senior staffers, where athletes' storytelling was front and center. We had a friendly soccer match on Parliament Hill on the West Lawn, which was super fun. This was co-hosted by Secretary of State for Sport Adam Van Koeverden. And it was really, really fun to watch unified soccer on the Hill. We had a gorgeous sunny day and lots of fun. And then we had athletes present during question period, which was really cool because 3 members of Parliament read statements about Special Olympics Canada and mentioned our athletes specifically during question period in government, which was really neat to see. And then we closed off the day with an evening reception, which included our Governor General, and we had a wonderful Special Olympics athlete from Quebec, Olivier Martel, share his story both in English and in French, which was very, very moving. And we were also lucky to have a couple of members of Parliament who have a personal connection to our movement, including Don Davies, who's the NDP interim leader. His daughter's a Special Olympics athlete, so he shared some remarks. And Richard Martel, who's Olivier's uncle, also shared his remarks, and it was a really lovely evening. We also incorporated unified bocce in that event so that people could try another one of our sports in the ballroom alongside our athletes. So overall, it was a really fantastic day. Damien, you were there firsthand, and what was your experience? How did you find it?
Yeah, I was there. I was there representing Special Alberta because I'm the Special Olympics Alberta Athlete Ambassador, and it's actually the first time I've ever been to Ottawa, and I really liked Ottawa. I was like, I thought it was it's a cool city to see all the parliament and everything and what it looks like, and I thought question period was really neat to take a tour. MP Lake gave us a tour inside the Parliament building at the time that that was happening, and it was just really cool. I got to meet Mr. Polyev. That was really cool, and it was a great experience that I hope to do again in my lifetime.
Wonderful. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you for coming and sharing your story, because that's what it's all about.
What was your role with Hill Day?
Well, as the CEO, I'm also part of a team. So this was a collective effort with staff, with chapters, and we had some expert consultants to help us. But my role was really to guide the overall Hill Day strategy and national messaging as a part of that overall team of people, including Sarah Barker, who is our Vice President of Brand Marketing Communications. Government Relations is her passion. And so she really dug into this project and did the lion's share of the work. We helped chapters prepare, athletes, families, staff, and volunteers, alongside Caleb Deneau, who's a Special Olympic athlete and Special Olympics Canada staff person. He shared his knowledge and learnings with athletes to make sure that they were comfortable with the day. I was also able to lead and attend several meetings alongside our athletes and other representatives, where we were able to highlight national priorities. And in my case, I was able to meet with the Deputy Minister of Health, which is really important because the health ministry doesn't understand, or didn't until now really understand, the role that Special Olympics plays in health. And so we were able to share all of the good work through Healthy Athletes. We were able to talk about some of the work we want to do to expand through women's health and through mental health. I was also able to work together with my team to meet with the Deputy Minister of Indigenous Services Canada, because we are striving to collaborate with Indigenous communities and co-create opportunities so that more Indigenous folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities can participate in Special Olympics programs. And also, I was able to meet with Natan Obed, and he leads an organization called ITK, which represents Inuit people in Canada. And the reason we wanted to meet with him was that we are hoping, as I said earlier, to expand to Nunavut. And Nunavut has many, many Inuit people. And I wanted to learn more about what it would take to be able to bring some Special Olympics opportunities to those communities.
And that
And
would
then,
be, I think that would
sorry, go
be,
ahead.
oh, that would be very awesome to expand to places like Nunavut, because I know Nunavut has a very small Special Olympics program. So to hopefully to expand to Nunavut and make them bigger, I'm sure that'd be very cool for them too.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think both you and I understand the incredible benefit that Special Olympics has, and I just think that there's a lot of people who could benefit from programs and from sport participation. So hopefully that's the big goal, and hopefully we are able to reach it one day.
So what was your favorite part of Hill Day?
Oh my goodness, so many highlights. Really, I mean, seeing the athletes, confidently lead discussions and share their stories, and see the reactions of MPs and senators to the athlete stories, seeing their perspectives shift and their eyes being opened when they learned something that they didn't know previously, and see how impressive our athletes are and how well spoken our athletes are. It was really powerful for me as a first time Hill Day participant to be able to experience that. Um, the soccer match, as I said earlier, was just such a joyful highlight and an amazing example of the power of sport to break down barriers and bring people together. So, as you can imagine, these individuals, MPs and senators, are really, really busy. So, not all of them could meet with us, but many took the time to come and watch the soccer match. And everyone was smiling and laughing and really experiencing firsthand the joy that the Special Olympics movement brings to people. And then again, in the reception where Olivier shared his story, and seeing the emotion in the room and seeing the connection that people were making, both as a full group when they listened to Olivier's story, but also with one another. So many people, again, people that maybe we couldn't meet with during the day, took the time to drop by in the evening, chat with the athletes, chat with the chapters, and learn more about the movement and perhaps how they could support and share the message. And, seeing the Governor General come and meet with each of you as athletes and connect with you directly, I think was really, really lovely.
Yeah, that was a cool feeling for everybody there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any challenges to organizing such a great event like this?
Yes.
Oh
I mean, you can imagine. I think
yeah.
we had more than 40 meetings, 65 people coming from across the country, and a very dynamic and changing political environment in Ottawa. It was a very large scale event with lots and lots of logistics. So coordinating all those meetings across Parliament hill with everyone's changing schedules and last minute things coming up. All of that is very, very challenging. But as I said, we had great staff support. Our chapters were awesome, really leaned in. We're super flexible, and they're the experts. When they get in a room along with the athletes, they knock it out of the park, and they know, they know the work, they know the stories, and they are so good at sharing the impact of the movement. So part of the challenge is condensing that incredible impact into short, sort of high impact conversations. We only have half an hour in a meeting, and you want to get in all of the impact of the movement between sport and health and inclusion, employment, and the economic impact. There's a lot to communicate, but despite all of the challenges, I think what we saw at the end of the day was all of these beautiful moments, these fantastic meetings, and it certainly made it all worthwhile.
Yeah, it definitely was an event that I think everyone's going to remember for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
So as you know, my show is about helping Special Olympics athletes live a healthy lifestyle. As a passionate advocate for equity in sport for athletes with a disability, a healthy lifestyle can be challenging for some of these athletes. What can athletes do when they are struggling to work on their health?
That is a great question. I think something that many of us share and struggle with. I think the first step is to make sure that they stay connected to their coaches, to their teammates, to their caregivers, and to their local programs. Make sure that they stay a part of the community that can support their healthy goals. No one can do this alone. It takes a group and lots of support, and it takes time. So time to build those healthy habits. And I would encourage athletes, as we've spoken about earlier, to access the Special Olympics chapter's Healthy Athletes program and the free screenings and inclusive health resources that come along with that, whether it's for vision or hearing or podiatry or oral health and emotional well-being. Screenings often uncover issues that athletes didn't know that they had. And we've seen these screenings lead to new prescription glasses, to hearing aids, orthotics, to pain relief, and to referrals that can change lives on and off the field of play. And if it's hard to get started or to take that first step, start small. Maybe consider just going for a walk, making a healthy food choice, reaching out to a teammate or a friend, and setting one small, achievable goal as a good place to start.
And that would be important. And I know just recently that the special has been started, a peak program too. It's on the social media page, so try to get involved with that because that has some really good tips and also some really good exercises that you can do. And the classes are pretty fun too.
Fantastic. Agree.
So what changes have you seen from athletes when they implement healthy choices?
You know what? The improvements are remarkable. And we've been able to measure some of those. So in the past year or two, we refreshed our social return on investment, which is a study that we do that talks about, if you invest $1 in Special Olympics, you get almost $9 in social return. And in one aspect of that social return is health. And so what we've learned through the research of Dr. Megan Lloyd and her colleagues is that if you participate in Special Olympics, from a mental health perspective, you're 49% less likely to be diagnosed with depression, and you're 15% less likely to develop diabetes. So these are enormous stats that show that there are very real health outcomes for athletes when they get involved in Special Olympics. We know that athletes have stronger social connections and improved emotional well-being. And we also know that athletes have a longer lifespan, on average about 2.5 years longer than their peers who don't participate in Special Olympics. And, as I've traveled the country and seen and visited with athletes, they've shared some wonderful stories, stories of when they've gone through Healthy Athletes. They've discovered, acute dental challenges like impacted wisdom teeth that were causing pain, If not for healthy athletes, they never would have known. And after receiving care, just imagine how well you feel and your confidence and